Most people have heard at some point that hot dogs are made from whatever's left over, but almost nobody actually knows what that really means or how far that process goes. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly what's inside a hot dog, how it's made, and why it looks nothing like the meat it comes from. Because when you really stop and look at a hot dog, it doesn't behave like meat at all. It doesn't have visible fibers, it doesn't tear apart like chicken or beef, and it doesn't even look natural. It's perfectly smooth, perfectly uniform, almost engineered. And that's not an accident. Most people imagine hot dogs are just ground meat, seasoned and packed into a casing. Something simple, something you could probably recreate at home. But the reality is a lot more controlled than that. Yes, hot dogs are made from real meat, but not in the form most people expect. During meat processing, once the main cuts like steaks, breasts, or chops are removed, there are still smaller pieces of meat left attached to the bones. These pieces are completely edible, but they don't look like the clean, solid cuts people are used to seeing in stores. Instead of being wasted, they're collected and used in products like hot dogs. And this is where things start to change. These pieces aren't just chopped up. They're broken down much further until the texture becomes completely smooth and uniform. At this stage, it no longer resembles meat in the traditional sense. It becomes a fine mixture with the same consistency all the way through. Not because something fake is being added, but because the goal is to remove natural variation completely. And that's really the key idea behind hot dogs. They're not designed to feel natural. They're designed to feel identical every single time. The mixture is carefully blended to control how it behaves. The balance of protein, moisture, and fat is adjusted so it holds together perfectly and reacts to heat in a very specific way. If it's too dry, it won't hold its shape. If it's too wet, the texture won't feel right. Everything has to be controlled precisely to create the final product people recognize instantly. And this is where hot dogs become fundamentally different from something like a steak or a piece of chicken. With natural meat, every piece is slightly different. The texture changes, the fibers are visible, and the way it cooks can vary. But with hot dogs, all of that variation is removed completely. What you get instead is total consistency. That's why when you bite into a hot dog, it doesn't pull apart like normal meat. It doesn't have layers or grain. It's smooth, soft, and uniform from one end to the other. And that texture isn't accidental. It's carefully engineered through processing. Once the mixture reaches the right consistency, it's shaped into the form you recognize. But unlike traditional sausages that might be made in smaller batches, this process is highly controlled. The smooth mixture is pushed through machines into long, thin casings that create that perfectly even shape. And those casings are important because they create one of the most recognizable parts of eating a hot dog, that slight resistance or snap when you bite into it. For many people, that snap is part of what makes a hot dog feel satisfying. Inside, though, everything stays completely uniform. No visible structure, no variation, no surprises. Every hot dog is designed to feel almost exactly the same as the next one. After shaping, the hot dogs are cooked, but not in the way most people imagine. They're usually heated in a controlled environment, often using steam rather than an open grill or pan. This allows them to keep their shape while developing that firm, smooth texture. Then they're cooled, packaged, and shipped out. So by the time you buy a hot dog from a grocery store, a stadium, or a fast food restaurant, it's already fully cooked. All that's left is reheating it. Grilling, boiling, or steaming doesn't create the hot dog, it simply finishes it. And that's a huge reason why hot dogs are so consistent, because the most important parts of the process happen long before they ever reached you. But here's where it gets even more interesting. That texture people instantly recognize, soft, slightly springy, perfectly smooth, doesn't happen naturally. It's the result of breaking down meat completely and then rebuilding it into something new, something predictable, something repeatable. And that's why hot dogs feel so different from almost every other type of meat people eat, because they're not just prepared, they're transformed. So when people say hot dogs are just meat, that's only partially true. Yes, they contain real meat, but that meat has been processed so thoroughly that it no longer behaves like meat in the way most people expect. It's no longer fibrous. It's no longer variable. It's been turned into something designed for consistency above everything else. And once you notice that, it's hard to ignore. Think about it. Every hot dog you've ever eaten probably felt almost exactly the same. Same texture, same structure, same bite every single time. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because variation has been removed from the process almost completely. And that's the real answer to the question, are hot dogs really meat? Yes, but not in the way most people think. They're not just ground meat in a casing. They're a carefully engineered food product, built to deliver the exact same experience every single time. And that's why they look the way they do. That's why they feel the way they do. And that's why they taste almost identical no matter where you get them. So the next time you take a bite, it might still taste familiar, but it probably won't feel as simple as it used to. Now the real question is, does knowing all of this actually change anything for you? Or do hot dogs still taste exactly the same as they always have? Because the next time you eat one, you won't just taste it, you'll understand exactly what you're eating.